Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
I just got three things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
Are you ready?
It's showtime, everybody! Showtime!
It's awesome!
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Welcome to the fucking show.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Magnificent. Today, I have Mi Familia here, Mr. Eldon Faulkner. Eldon, what is happening?
How you doing, brother?
Good, good. So you are a real estate agent, is that correct?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. How long have you been doing that for?
I would say a little over 2 years now.
Oh, 2 years. Okay. What did you do beforehand?
I was with Home Depot for 26 years. I was kind of worked my way up. I was a corporate trainer with them, and then I took over the pro side for a while.
Okay. And so with being in real estate, have you taken the skills that you learned from Home Depot into real estate, or has it been a little bit of a different ball game, or what can you say about that?
That's a loaded question. It was no, it is when you're going in and you're looking at it, especially first time home buyers and stuff like that. It's just like, you get into, I got some crazy stories and stuff you find and things you're looking at. So it kind of helps me to kind of help them when the floors are unlevel or when there's something wrong with the house, And so I've taken a lot of that with me. It's been cool.
And it seems to me like, with social media, like you've been using that to an absolute extreme, like with, promoting yourself, in which it's incredible to see, how you're promoting yourself. You're promoting that you're a family man and that you're hardworking, and every day that you wake up every day with a smile on your face. And that is just like inspiring. And it's also very, something that I think you get a lot of people to follow your what's the word? Your lifestyle, I guess you could say. Yeah. And
it's crazy.
Yeah. And so with real estate, I mean, I've been talking with a bunch of people, and like figured your expertise would be really well used on this podcast. So of course, as of right now, if you're looking to get a house, right, doesn't matter if it's a startup house or whatnot, would it be a good decision to move in right now? I mean, being a real estate agent and everything, and I know you gotta sell your business and everything, but as a person that knows this business, what would you say?
All right. So I'm going to start out with you wake up every day and you look at this business. If you look at this business as money, you're going to lose. So if you're always looking for the next deal, you're looking at how much you're going to make, you're going to lose. It's all about relationships. It's all about serving people, and you will never be successful in this business if you're looking for how much money can I make off of them, and be honest with you. And there's agents out there that do that. So I wake up every day about serving people. And with your question you asked me, if I go and I say, I take you out to a house, I, have a conversation with you, I build rapport with you, or maybe I know you, and we're looking at a place. Well, you kind of look at it as, hey, I'll show you 2 houses or I'll show you 200 houses. But until you are comfortable with your finances and the payment and comfortable with the house, that's all that matters. We'll keep looking. As far as the market goes right now, a lot of agents will say different things, but I will tell you, bottom of my heart right now is the best time to buy, and not because I'm a real estate agent. The best time to buy is right now. If you look at, you had an interest drop, right? Stock market's doing good. You look at all these different factors that I look at on a daily basis that are sent to me. you're going to see a couple more interest drops. 85% of the United States right now is at about a 2.75 or lower. So that's why you don't have a lot on the market right now. That's why the amount of houses inventory that we have is just not there. But now people are realizing, hey, we're not going to get back to the 2.5 to 2.75%. Now we're going to stick with probably around maybe 4.5, 5, somewhere in there with another couple rate drops this year. I mean, if you're looking at, you look past years, you were looking at like it being a election year. That's another key factor into this. Economy is going to start picking up. It's showing that it's picking up. So now going back to it, when I was just this morning, I was talking to a first-time home buyer. And when I was talking to her and showing her this house in Grand Blanc, I basically told her, I said, the people that are selling right now in the middle of winter is death, divorce, job placement, something like that, because people just don't wake up in the middle of winter and say, hey, I'm going to sell my house. So the people that are selling, they're selling for a reason. The buyers in the winter now are buying, and they're not just lookers. Usually the people that are calling me right now are ready to go, and they want to go for a reason. So that works out for both sides. I think that right now that if you look in the next 45 days, you're going to see house prices go up about 3 to 5%. Reason being is with those rate drops, you're going to get a lot more buyers, okay? And you're going to see a lot of them come to the market. Then you're going to have that revolving door. Now, this house today doesn't have any offers on it. In the next 45 days, it could have 5 or 6 offers on it and multiple people coming in. Now you're battling against other people, and that's where your 3 to 5% goes up. Now sellers might sit there and go, well, is it the best time to wait to sell? Well, no, because you can still get offers right now and not having all these people go through your house and, disturb your life, your kids, because it is tough when you're selling your house and you got people going through it, and you're constantly, your phone's going off. I want, for showings. So right now I would say is the best time to buy, because you're going to take all those factors out of it for that spring, summer. And we're going to have an early spring. The phones are already going crazy.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah.
So say, somebody wants to wait a year. Is that still is that a good plan as well?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of factors to it. I'm going to ask questions like, why do you want to wait a year? I mean, is it finances? And then I'm going to get them with, a financial person, because there's a lot of people, don't, when I recommend a mortgage company or a lender, it's against the law for them to give me a kickback. So I do it. When I give a lender, I give it because, let's say it's tonight and you and I are looking at a house and you want this house and I have to have an offer in. Well, I need a lender I can call at 9:00 at night and say, I need a pre-approval for Matt, and I need it now because I have to have it in by tomorrow morning at 10:00. So that's why I'm going to give you a lender. I'm also going to give you a lender because maybe if you want to wait a year, you're trying to think, I need some extra money. I need some more money down for my earnest money deposit, or for the 5%, 20% down, whatever the case may be. And I'm going to give you a lender that's not just going to say, no, you can't get it done. No, put a game plan together for you, so in a year, you're ready to go, or within a year, your time frame. And, hey, take care of this, pay this off, do this. And then it brings that score maybe from the 580 mark to the 620 where you need it,
Okay. So let's come back to where you first started getting into real estate. What was kind of your mindset on truly getting into the business? Did somebody come up to you and be like, hey, you should do this? Or did you all of a sudden wake up one day and was like, I want to do real estate?
No, not even close.
No kidding.
So with being Home Depot, you're picking up a paycheck, every 2 weeks there's a paycheck, So I always said when Home Depot changed, then I was going to change. And, the business was changing, all the things going on was changing. So when I decided to leave Home Depot, it was a big thing with my wife and a big discussion, because going into real estate, I didn't even realize what it took to build up a clientele and get started. And I talk to people all the time that ask me, hey, I want to get into it. So actually, I was sitting there, I was thinking about, what do I want to do? And my brother-in-law lives next door to me, and we were out talking, mowing the lawn and stuff like that. He goes, dude, you got to do real estate. You're a talker. And I am. I mean, I'll sit there and have a conversation about a salt and pepper shaker for an hour, but he was like, dude, you got to do it. So I reached out to a couple people. I have friends in the business, and then one of my friends that I went to school with, high school, he was in it, and he's really, he's a very good agent. And he told me, he goes, I want you to come visit us, but I want you to visit everybody else first. So I went to all these brokerages and met with them and talked with them and all this stuff. And at the end of the day, I went to them and I said, he said, come to one of our team meetings. And I went, and I'll be honest with you, Matt, I walked out of there and said, they're all on some kind of drug. I said, these people can't be this happy. I'm serious. I even told them that. I said, they're on some, and I came home and I told my wife, I said, this was a setup. These people can't be this happy. So then I went back the following Tuesday to another team meeting, and they were the same way. And I was like, yeah, no way. They can't be.
You're like, this is like, there's something pushed under the rug. What is going on?
It is. How are you people that happy?
Right.
And, they're giving hugs to each other, high five. And I'm thinking like I'm in Wolf of Wall Street or something.
Right,
I'm like, what is going on, dude?
Yeah.
But it was these people are having fun every day serving people. They really are.
Yeah. And would you say like that that happiness and like that high five mentality and all that is now kind of like your is what's happening in your life right now?
Should have did it when I was 20, man. Should have did it when I was 20.
See, I've heard so many different things about that because so I had a guy that I went to high school with. He was a grade ahead of me. He's now in Arizona selling houses. And I mean, imagine how much money, is in Arizona. But I mean, the houses that he's showing are absolutely gorgeous in the desert and everything. And just looking at him succeeding, I mean, he is truly looking like Jordan Belfort from the Wolf of Wall Street. Like he's looking slick.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what? And one of my good buddies, he's like, yo, did you see Sam? And I was like, no, and so we looked him up, and I'm like, he's doing pretty well for himself, isn't he? So, but I mean, it looks very intoxicating, and it looks very, like I can understand why you were like, this seems like it's a little fake or too good to be true. And were there any cases to where you were like, this is way too good to be true moments?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so there's two things to that. It is that way. It's intoxicating. It really is. And it's a great business to be in. And especially if you like to talk to people and meet new people all the time. I meet everyone from people that are just out of high school, they got some money saved, to people that are running multi-million-dollar companies. I mean, you literally have to talk to people in different ways and converse with them in different ways. So you can learn that. But there's certain things that, you take, and you got to want to talk to people. I think the biggest thing, let's go downsides, like a downside to it is waking up. And if you're a business owner. So if you wake up and go, dude, that new thing came out on Netflix, I'm going to sit here and have cereal and just not work till 1:00, then you don't work till 1:00, but you don't make money. You got people calling you. And, if I take a half a day off, then, who's going to get back with them? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you kind of got to go, and there's a couple things. So there's that right there that you've just got to move yourself into it every day. You got to have that mindset of where you want to be and what you want to do. Then you've got work-life balance, because people can take up a lot of your time. Some people can't see homes till 6 o'clock at night. Some people want to see them at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'll give you, yesterday, I got a phone call, and I had 4 hours notice, and I was up in 2 houses in Houghton, St. Helens, and West Branch, and I had to be there at 9 o'clock in the morning. I was up at 5:30, and I was on the road by 6, and then back. So, and I had to be back. We went and seen Alan Trammell last night. So I had, you're trying to get all that stuff together and trying to keep everybody balanced, along with like this morning. And as soon as I get done with you, I know my time frame. I'm off, and I got another showing, and then I've got a client I got to meet with. So when you're looking at those things, those are the things that people don't see when they're like, oh man, he gets to go here, he gets to go there, and it looks awesome, and it is, but there's still, just like anything else, things you got to work through, and there's deals with other agents, and when you get into complex deals, you can't do it by yourself. You got to have a team. I have a team of people that I can call on that have knowledge of vacant land and all different kinds of things, where I have to make phone calls, and I have to reach out to lenders, and there's things that pop up that you'll lose the deal in a split second. And at the end of the day, you want everybody at the closing table happy,
Right. And, that with the time, what is it? The time management. That's something that I can, definitely see, because you were saying like, hey, like we texted beforehand, like I was like, hey, I fell asleep on my couch watching a show. I came home from a friend's house last night, and I was just kind of chilling and relaxing, and I fell asleep watching the show. I wake up on my couch, and of course my couch is very old, so my back, I'm feeling like I'm 80. I'm like, all right, I gotta text him. I'm like, we gotta push it back. It's a little bit, and the cool thing is, like with you, like you were like, yeah, me too, and I was like, wonderful. The fact that like we could be on the same page about that, and of course, like you said, like after this, you're gonna get back at it. But you're not only a real estate man, but you're a family man. And how long have you and your wife been married?
just over 25 years.
25 years. Wow.
Crazy.
So for people that are just getting married or engaged, or, I would say maybe married for a year or two, what advice do you have for them?
Oh man, it's all about communication. My wife still tells me to this day I don't communicate well enough, and you try better every day, but at the end of the day, I'll go with what you mostly hear is, you never leave angry. You just don't know how, and being in real estate and changing jobs, my mindset's different than punching a clock, and life's too short, way too short. So you never know what's going to happen. And I would say communication, especially when you're having kids and your jobs and you're going different ways in, basketball games and baseball and all the different sports that the kids might be in and things you want to do. And I'm a huge Michigan fan, and, there was things that I wanted to watch and be at and stuff like that. And it's just like, might not be things she wants to go to. So it's the communication of, who's doing dinner tonight? Where are you going? And it's just, you got to communicate that and work it out. But I'm going more and more every day to, no matter what comes up, is that, you go to bed at night and you leave in the morning, not you working it out as much as humanly possible.
Awesome. Now, how did you guys originally meet? Because I don't think I've ever heard this story.
Oh man, I get beaten up over this one because it was Home Depot. She's 7 years younger than me, so she was 21 and I was 27, just getting ready to turn 28. And we worked together. I left, actually, it's crazy. She was working at Home Depot. I left that store with dating another girl and went and opened up another store in Clarksville, Indiana. And I went down there and we broke up, and I decided to move back home. So I came back home, transferred, when I came back, she was there. Her and I were going out to lunch. And one day, one of the guys there, he's a police officer, state trooper now. He's like, dude, you guys got to go out. And right in front of both of us. And I'm like, I never thought of her that way, you know? And then I was like, all right, let's do it. So at that point in my life, I had a lot of friends and a lot of fraternity guys. And so we made a plan to go out. And I stood her up and I went out to the bar with my buddies. And because she was, you know, she was just at that age when we first met that she couldn't even get into the bar unless, you know, she was snuck into the bar. So then she turned 21, but I was like going out with my buddies, you know. It was Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, you know, Monday, whatever. Didn't matter. So then we planned it again. I apologized. We planned it again, and I stood her up a second time. And yeah. So
this is great.
So then the third time she gave me a third chance. Couldn't believe it, man. I don't even know. But the third time I was so late that we didn't make the movie and that we were planning. So we got in the car and we were driving, and I'll never forget it. Driving down US 23, just talking. First time, you know, kind of on a date instead of just lunch. And we got all the way out to Owen Road. And after talking with her, I got out to Owen Road, got off the expressway to turn and come back. And as we were going over US 23 to get back onto 23 to come back towards Flint, I said to myself, I'm going to marry her. And that's what I did.
Wow, that's nuts. So like that whole time of conversation, it just like hit you. You're like, I'm going to marry this girl.
Yep.
That's amazing. That's so cool.
I had dated enough and had, you know, different relationships that I just knew it. I knew she was genuine. I knew that who she was, and we had talked kind of just as friends and went out to lunch as friends and stuff like that. And I knew it. And then it happened. But again, it was that mindset. And then for her, you know, there was no way she was even thinking that, you know, and I was never going to bring it up because it would have been like, he's a weirdo. I'm never going to call him again, or, you know, whatever.
Right. And the fact that it took you three tries, third time's a charm, you know, to go on the date. And
let's say it like it was. It was 3 screw ups.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, do you remember what movie you guys were trying to plan to see?
Not even clue. Don't have a clue.
That's fine. And I think the movie itself doesn't really have any real, you know, meaning to the story, but I mean that story alone is just incredible. Like you hear different people like meeting in grocery stores or, you know, dating apps now, but you know, that story alone is just absolutely one of, like, I would say one of the best meet cutes or something like that, you could say.
She did. She took on so much with that when we did decide to get married, but you know, I never asked her to marry me. And that's a weird one too, is that
really?
Yep. Never asked her to marry me. There was no one knee, none of that. Her and I would go out and drive for hours or go see a movie or go to dinner. And we would always, after going through the relationship, after a couple months, we sat there and we started talking about it. And then in the car, we just decided to get married. And it was just a discussion. And then it was like, yeah, now you got to talk to my dad.
I was about to say, you know,
you got to talk to Bob now.
Yeah, you got to talk to Big Bag Bob, you know. And what was his reaction out of it? I mean, I'm sure you came out to him and was like, hey, you know, very respectful and very gentlemanlike. I mean, how did that happen? You know, the first person you got to deal with.
Nah, she broke it to him first, you know.
Oh,
she kind of set the tone a little bit, but it was welcome. I mean, we had a good relationship, you know, loved the family. It was just like, they were just like her. They were genuine, you know, they were real people, and got along with them well. So yeah, It was cool.
Yeah. I was thinking, cool. But I would have thought Bob would have been more harder on you or something. I don't know.
Oh no, that's me. That's me. I got a 14-year-old and I tell her, I mean, at 13, I think we watched Bad Boys 2, and I told her this is how it's going down right now. So,
That was good.
and blonde hair,
So
blue eyes. It's
who would be your sidekick? Who would?
Steve.
Oh,
Steve,
okay.
my brother-in-law next door.
Yeah.
He's going to be the one in prison. Just out of prison. So he'll be the Will Smith. Yeah.
I like it. I like it. That's so great. so, so you were saying you're a huge Michigan fan. Now, did you go to Michigan, or were you just a born and raised kind of Michigan fan?
Yeah, it was family, and mom was a Michigan State person. She went to Michigan State, and then my uncle Randy. My dad passed away when I was 10.
Mm.
So my uncle was like, he took over that role as me growing up. And I just took on the Michigan thing through the whole Bo era. And my mom hated it, but always, I mean, my basement, everything's all Michigan, season tickets. My daughter, women's basketball and men's basketball. I mean, it's just, I've always been there all the way through everything. So it just, hate to see that Jim's leaving, but oh well.
That was going to be my next question. How do you think Coach Moore is going to fill the shoes of Jim Harbaugh?
It'll be different. Nobody's gonna do it like him. But I like that he was there and he knows the ethics. And he's a Michigan man, and Michigan's not going to bring anybody in that doesn't, feed that to all these players. I hate to see it because everybody wants to come back, but you lost a lot of people, man. And you just lost a lot of good talent. But I'd like to. Edwards is one of my favorites, so I'm looking forward to him.
Yeah, coming back.
Yeah. Corum and JJ, everybody was like, them staying and wanting them to stay and stuff like that. And how do you better yourself from that? And now going to a 12-team playoff, man, it's even going to be harder. So
yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be interesting. And as you can tell, like even with Harbaugh, like your first season is not going to be a championship season.
Right.
So that's the downside of it. I mean, you look at, doesn't matter if it's high school, it doesn't matter if it's college or even the pros, their first season is not going to be a championship season.
Yeah. I think him being in the NFL before and then coming back and them offering him a little over 11 million over 6 years, I didn't think he was leaving. I didn't think because of the money, but I had heard him talk a couple times about being planted in Ann Arbor, and he's still got younger kids, but the offer there must have just been great, and the way that's working. But I worry about it because I like Harbaugh. But I look at Beeline with basketball. I mean, if you pretty much anything you hear for Coach Beeline, he had Michigan and they were doing well. He had Poole playing for him, and then he goes down to Ohio and goes in the NBA. I think he'd come back in a second and switch it around because it's a different monster when you're going against pro players that are getting paid what they're getting paid.
Right. Yeah, and with Harbaugh, I think he's going to be known as a college coach like Nick Saban, or he's going to be, known as somebody that can both coach in the NFL and in college and do well in both. But I mean, what would you say how far do you think Michigan will go this upcoming season?
I think their depth is there. I can only say I hope for a Big Ten championship. But other than that, I'm not going to say national championship because I just don't think the caliber is going to be there. I think you're still going to have the Georgias there, and you're still going to have the Florida States there and stuff like that aren't losing as much on the line. I mean, I think the depth is there, and I think with them keeping, in with our defense, the way that our defense has always been, and then along with the strength and conditioning coaches that they have, is just top of the line. And I think those boys are ready. And I think that they're going to make sure that they're ready to play, 4 quarters. And I think that's one of the things that Michigan's always done. I mean, now they're coming out strong, and they've always been kind of a mediocre coming out, but then being able to just, take you down at the end of the third into the fourth. So I don't know. Let's see if they got a quarterback that can step up now. They put him in a couple times, but there's so many factors to that.
Yeah, I mean, just like JJ, like when JJ first came on the scene, he was looking as green as grass, and now, he's a little bit better. Do I say that he's, pro better? No. My dad and I, we've talked about it multiple times, and JJ needs to stay one more year, but it's his life. It's his career. He wants to do what he wants with it. Most likely he's going to be a backup, but I can definitely say he's going to learn from those top guys in the pros. But he still was good, but he wasn't, I don't think, up to that par.
Hopefully the NFL can do that with him, because you know how they take them to a whole nother level.
Oh, absolutely.
And his work ethics and mindset is, it's hard to beat.
Yeah.
I mean, you always seen him, like, I read into a lot about, and I do the same thing, as the mindset of him sitting down in front of the goalpost and taking his shoes off, and, just sitting there with the headphones on. But he looks at it like, what's the first quarter going to look like? What's halftime going to look like? What's it going to look like at the end of the game? And how am I going to feel when I win this game? And that's his whole entire mindset from beginning to end, is I'm going to do everything it takes to win this thing. So that and his leadership. And I think that hopefully he gets a good coach and a good team that it's behind him, because his success was Harbaugh,
Now, where would you, right. And now with Quorum, where would you say he would most likely go?
Man, I don't know. They're going to utilize him. Wherever he goes, they're going to utilize him. But I don't know, man. I'm more of an Edwards fan than a Blake fan. I love Blake, but he's that red line guy, that red zone guy. He is. He's got all those touchdowns, but he's, I was hoping for a Barry to come out of him and more cuts and being able to shift quicker. He's just got the legs, man, that he can barrel through.
Didn't he have a knee injury? What was it, last year? Yeah. So with his knee injury, because I remember he was doing those cuts and everything, and then once he had that knee injury, he couldn't do it that much. So I think now he's more, north and south, or
I was disappointed. I was disappointed from a couple of the games, and especially Edwards, what he did, that Corum, knowing he's leaving, got more of the spotlight, and Loveland and stuff like that, because those boys are bad. I mean, they got the talent. So I can't wait to see what they can do.
Now, knowing that you're a big Michigan fan, are you a big Detroit Lions fan?
Oh yeah, go Lions. I'm not a huge NFL fan, but I'm telling you what, just to see what they are, in the same mindset as Michigan. They are playing with everything turning together. It's working, man. And you can just see it. And I wish they were playing at home again, because that has a big play into it, man. Because that house down there is just erupting. I would love to go down there tonight just to sit with all those people to watch it. But my boy Hutchinson, I'm a Michigan fan, and he's a beast, dude. That dude is a beast, and he's going to be a leader. And he's going to get beaten up, but he's going to be around for a while.
Oh yeah, and I had one of his teammates on the podcast, and I was talking with him, and I was like, what is like one thing about Aiden that like stood out to you as an incoming freshman when he was like a senior? And he goes, "Oh, he's like that dude was a motor and he was a workhorse." And he was telling me he's like he wasn't vocal, but he was more lead by example kind of leader. I mean, he shows it still in the NFL. He's a motor still, and he just goes. He's an absolute workhorse, and it's absolutely amazing to like watch him play. I mean, I watched an interview with his parents, and they still can't believe the fact that a whole bunch of people are wearing the number 97, and they're like, that's my kid. Like, I mean, imagine if one of your kids, who plays sports,
I couldn't.
people are wearing their jersey and wearing their number and rooting for him and everything. Like, I can't imagine that because I don't have kids, but I mean, I'm sure you could understand possibly
Yeah, I
what that
mean,
was
but
be
it's
like.
just the proudness. I mean, what are you going to do, man? I mean, because you can push them so much. You go back to the Jordan era and his dad and Tiger Woods and stuff like that, and you kind of read about them. But at the end of the day, man, their work ethics are just crazy, man, and their drive to be better all the time. That's the things that I don't know. I utilize it myself because I sit back and I look every day, how can I get better, and I don't want to be I look at them and their drive and what their drive is and how they get to that point every day. And, that's the same thing that motivates me because I get up and I'm like, where do I want to be in the next, I got a 9-year-old, I'm like, I'm going to be doing this for a little bit. And when I go to retire, where do I want to be? Do I want to be a real estate agent and just showing houses and listing houses every day, or do I want to run a team? The sky's the limit, and how do you get there? And listening to them and their stories in the sports and stuff like that. I'm a big Gary Vee guy too. I mean, it's those guys drive everybody else, and in their daily. And look at the people tonight that are going to be watching this game, man. It's crazy what they got going on, man. You can't buy that kind of publicity with the Lions right now.
Oh,
Everybody's on
absolutely.
back.
And I think now, would you say it's like more the underdog story? I mean, granted, they weren't the underdog against the Rams and they weren't the underdog against Tampa, but I think overall, as a team, and just how they've never won the big one, and how we're just keep on rising, and we're now going against San Fran. Now we are truly the underdogs. Is that like the whole thing of the media
It
trying to
is.
portray?
Okay, so I look at it this way. It is. It's the whole thing. It's Detroit. Okay, so it's Detroit and the crime rates and being all over the country, and now you're sitting there. But if you look back and you look at even this last year, I look at it as real estate. Detroit and Ann Arbor were two places in the entire country that didn't go down in home value and went up last year. Now you've got those two teams that are playing for the biggest in the nation, world. And then on top of it, you look at um, if you go back and Google search and you get into sports history, we're the biggest state for sports with the Wings and multiple years of titles with the Wings, the Pistons, year after year. There's no other state in the United States that competes with us. So it's crazy to look at like national championships and Super Bowls. But I mean, yeah, you got to go back, and it's before our time. But I mean, we've got that bloodline, and they're going to stand behind. And I know guys that they were, man, I would have been a fair weather fan way long time ago with the Lions, and they have year after year sat there and season ticketed or got these tickets and went down and just got beaten up every year.
Yeah.
Give them a lot
Yeah.
of credit.
And what amazes me in that is the fact that you compared it to like the real estate thing, and it amazes, and you're absolutely right, to the point where I would say not even 10 years ago, but a little bit more longer than that, Detroit was just rough. I mean, it was in a rough stage of broken down homes and buildings that just looked like they could, like, one flick and they would be a pile of dust, you know. And now you go down there and it's so, like, lively, and it feels very, pretty much almost safe, you know, to go
Mhm.
down there. And I think, you know, over the years of, you know, growing the population down there, and the crime rate and everything like that, um more people have wanted to live down there. And also with the sports teams and everything like that, it helps tremendously. Now, would you say sports definitely help um real estate?
No, not so much. I mean, it just in the areas, because you see around sporting, venues and stuff like that. And you go to Indianapolis, or you go to different places. You kind of see where it's not the greatest of areas around all the different sporting venues, but um, I don't think so as much. I don't think it really drives it. Um, Going back to Detroit, though, it's helping in the area just because now, with everything being so focused in the Ford Field and Comerica Park and stuff like that, and what they're building up. I was just down there at the skating rink, and the food trucks down there and all the other shopping stuff that they had down there. And there was all walks of life, man. I mean, there was everybody down there, and everybody was having a blast, having fun. Um, it was amazing. It was like an energy down there that I haven't seen in a long time. And to go down there and the casinos, and to walk from Jen and I went to the casino and then went over and stayed the night, went to dinner and then stayed the night at the GM building over there. And we walked from the casino, not even a problem.
Mm-hmm.
No issue. The building that they've got down there, the row homes, down there and stuff, amazing. And it's just going to get better. It really is.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what comes up of it. So couple more questions for you. So with this new year, you know, it's still January. Um, do you have any? I mean, you know, everybody says New Year, new me, and that's to me that's a bunch of crap. It's like, keep doing what you're doing, but, you know, make better goals for yourself, right? But what would you say for the new year? Do you have any goals? Do you have any plans? Would you like to do different things this year? What would those kinds of things be for this year?
This year's going to be tough. Me personally, this is going to be tough because I've got my first child that is graduating. So, as busy as I am and I plan to be, you still got open houses. We're jumping on a cruise ship in less than 50 days. So you've got taking him on a cruise for a senior trip, coming back, getting ready for that, and then the work-life balance and keeping everybody happy all the way around is going to be the key to this whole thing. But my outlook is, business-wise, my outlook is to do, you do percentage by families, and then you got numbers that you go by. But this year I think is going to be, I know is going to be my better year. And I go back to the Michigan thing that I have hanging right next to me is, failure is not an option. So I wake up every day knowing what I have to do to get there. I know how many people I have to talk to. Um, and that's the thing people don't see with me, that I get up in the morning, I get my kids ready, I take my son to school, I come back, and I am on the phone from 9 to 1 every day. And sometimes it's with people that I know, people I don't know, or cold calling. And when you have people F you and hang up the phone, that's not the so glamorous, but um, that will get me to where I want to be. So that, and seeing Michigan do real well, that's probably, I just, as long as everybody's healthy and happy around the house, and I can still meet with friends and family, that's all I care about, man. That's
As
it.
long as you can, you know, wake up every day and, you know, do what you got to do, right? That's all that matters.
Yeah, the work-life balance. My daughter plays basketball. I mean, I want to go to basketball games. I want to be able to go on this cruise. I want to see my son graduate. I wake up every day. I am blessed that way. That's all I can ask for, and then just keep, pushing forward. I've taken a lot of negative out. People are negative, and you get those people that, and I try to stay away from it.
Yeah.
So
And trust me, I'm the same type of way to where it's like it's almost like what is it? It's almost like kryptonite to where it's like, Superman doesn't want any part of that. He's just like, I'm gonna go this way if it's over here. And yeah,
But
because
you live your life that way, though. I mean, from what knowing you, you live your life that way, and it's good to see because you have fun. You like to have those conversations. You like to hang out with friends and family, and that's the thing, man. Because at the end of the day, I don't ever want to go to a funeral again and say, and it's life, obviously, but you
right.
never want to go to a funeral and go, hey, we should get together because instead of seeing each other at a funeral, let's just get together. No, let's do it.
Yes.
Let's make it happen.
Yes, I'm all about that to where it's like, you see different people and you're like, "Oh, hey, it's great to see you on these kinds of circumstances." And it's never a good thing to hear that because
Right.
it's like yes, you're happy to see them, but in the terms that you're seeing them, it's like that person had to die to bring you together.
Yeah.
you know
Seriously, it is.
so instead of trying to have waiting for somebody to die, you more want to be like, hey, like let's go get lunch, or let's have a let me call you one of these days, and or stuff like that. Like, I mean,
And that's what I get to do on a daily basis. That's what the cool part
correct.
is.
Yeah. And one thing's for sure, never taking a good moment for granted. That's one thing that I've definitely very cherished is you gotta, like, even last night, it was just, we were down in my friend's basement, and they have like a bar, pool table, dartboard, and stuff like that. I play the music and everything. Every now and again, like, you sit back and you just scan the room and you just take it all in and appreciate that moment. I mean, has there ever been any moment like that in your life to where you just sat back, scanned the room, and then just felt that peace, and you're like, this is what life is all about?
It's happened to me twice, other than close family, because
Mm.
I can tell you, I watched my daughter get better and better at basketball, and she's playing JV and varsity, and I get tears in my eyes, dude. I really do. I'm watching the games and I see her drive to the basket, and I see her face, and I'm just like, it's crazy. But other than that, the last 2 days, this week, I actually I have a podcast that I sponsor, and I was over there. They asked me to come in for it, so I was setting in. And I was kind of running the camera, and it was Jim Bradstetter, and we interviewed him, and I got to hear his stories. And I went, this guy, and I'm looking around and I've got three guys that I know real well. And I'm sitting back and I'm like, wow, who gets to do this, man? The voice of Michigan for almost 30 years in the Lions. And this guy's telling us stories that are like unbelievable.
Mm.
And then I was over at Fouch's last night, and I got to meet Alan Trammell, and I sat with him for like 10 minutes, and then he got up on stage, and the stories he told. Now I'm dating myself big time, but I was at the 84 World Series. And so I got the chance to go meet him, and I sat back, and the stories he was telling and the people that were there, I sat there and I sat back against the window, and I was in a seat, and I was having a drink, and I was looking back, and I'm like, who gets to do this, man? I mean, this is what life's about, man. I get to hear the stories of Gibson and Whitaker and all these guys, and Mark Fidrich, and the things that he went through, and him and Lou Whitaker being the double play team, and just how he got into it from California and what the things are like. And I'm just like, this is it, man. This is the coolest thing. This is what I want to do. I want to be able to have these opportunities because it's something I'm never going to forget.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And with something special like that, I mean, not sure if you followed wrestling as a kid, but I mean, Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, got to meet him one time when I was working as an intern for WREF, Detroit's rock station. And we were in Hamlin Pub, and granted, I was like 20 at the time, so I'm like in a bar at 20 years old, and I'm, no drinking was happening. Like I was there just to work, and which was great, that I actually got to get in.
Yeah.
But I mean, talking with him was so amazing, to where he was such a sweet guy, and like just talking with him and everything, he was telling me about different stories about, being with Hulk Hogan, and dealing with the Nasty Boys, and even like different tag teams and stuff like that. And it was just so amazing to hear his stories and hear his kind of not really a life story, but more just like the different people that he kind of ran with back in the day. It was so fascinating, and just to have him be so kind to me, who was absolutely nobody to him, but like the fact that he just was like, hey, like come sit next to me and we'll chat for a little bit. And
Humble, man. I mean, those guys that are humble, it's awesome, dude.
yeah, I mean, the fact that you were telling me about those guys that you got to talk to and everything, um were they nice right off the bat? And you I mean, how bad
Well,
were you?
no, you tell me.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, how bad were you? Kind of like nervous? Were you a little nervous? Were you like, oh man, like this is insane? Like I'm meeting, so and
So
so,
Jim,
and
so Jim Brandstatter, he's just like any normal guy, dude. He's like talking to you right now. It's just that's how he was. I mean, and just he's one of those guys that you could probably just pull up a chair and have beer with, and it's just nothing. And
yeah,
he made you feel that way. Never felt nervous. Trammell, I did a little bit just because of the amount of people that were around, and but he made sure that everything was signed and it was signed correctly. So if it was a pitcher or a ball or a card or anything like that, he'd hold on a second, he'd switch pens. And I took him up a baseball, and he had a marker in his hand from a pitcher. And that's how I knew, because he goes, no. He goes, this ball right here, I want to sign it, but I want to sign it in a pen, because this is how it'll be years from now. If you ever give it to your children or anything, you're not going to want the Sharpie. And I'm like, who does that? Who literally thinks about that and takes care of people like that? And even at the end, with the VIP people that could get to talk with him, and then even afterwards for him to stay. But here's the thing with him. He lives in Southern California, and he comes here and has a snowmobile trip with Kirk Gibson every year, and they canceled it. And they were talking about him, and he didn't mention it. Somebody else mentioned it, that he flew in yesterday morning from Southern California just to go to this thing to raise money for Fauch's kids for baseball teams, the youth baseball in Flint. And he was flying out last night. We got done at 10 o'clock. He was heading to Detroit Metro to catch a plane, red eye out to back home. Crazy.
wow, yeah. I mean, as you were saying with the signing of the different things and how he wanted to make it accurate. I mean, a man that has not only been a fan and that has gotten things signed and kept for years and years, but I think I'm pretty sure that wasn't his first baseball that he signed.
Oh. No,
But
but the thing for him is, what I've had signed before is they're doing that, as quick as possible, and the whole lines of people and lots of pressure and stuff like that. He didn't care. He was just like, I'm going to do it right, or I'm not going to do it. And
correct,
same
yeah,
thing with pitchers. He was like, he would take two pictures of groups of people, and he was like, oh, second flash didn't go off. You better check your camera. And it's just like I don't know. He was serving to the people, man. He was there just to, make everybody feel good. It's cool.
yeah. Now, with like autographs and everything, I don't know. For some reason, I have like kind of iffy feeling about that, to where like a picture, speaks 1,000 words, but an autograph, I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know if it's odd for me to ask somebody for their autograph, because it's like, it's like, here, give me your signature so I can just display it somewhere.
Yep.
I don't know, how are you dealing with like autographs? Like, are you a person that is more like a, hey, let's take a photo together, or like, I want a photo and a autograph, or what is
No,
it?
I'm totally 100% photo. I like autographs just because, I don't want 1,000 pictures of me up on the wall with somebody else, but, baseball wise, but my basement's full of Michigan stuff and autographs and stuff like that. So, like Woodson signing Michigan helmet and Heisman, that to me, that's pretty cool. Um, but I've also got a picture with him when he was selling his bourbon and stuff like that. And, I would say both of them are on the same level. So I'm with you on that, because an autograph's an autograph, and I know that they're worth money, but I'm not selling them. I could care less about selling them. It's just, to me, I look at it as the memory, and most of the stuff in my basement um, is basically unique stuff. I don't want stuff that everybody else has, and I want stuff that I've gotten to, I can look at, and it's all up here. As
Yeah.
a memory.
Now you keep mentioning your basement. Now, is there a certain name for that Michigan style basement?
Not really. I mean, it's. You mean as far as the way it's set up, or?
Mainly, like, do you have a certain name for it? Like, people have, like, a man cave, or because like it's a Michigan one. Would you call it the little house instead of the big house? Is
Oh, it just, no, not so much me. It's just when you come down, that's the thing. You turn the corner and you see the basketball game with the Michigan, and you see all the other stuff. You just know what kind of family it is, what kind of house it is. But going back to that, when I sat in that basement, I usually watch all games by myself. I'll watch the Lions tonight by myself. I watch the national championship by myself, Rose Bowl, Big Ten, all that. I usually watch them all by myself.
it more of
And
like a preference, or just the kids are just like kind of busy with their own stuff, to where they're like, dad can watch it by himself, kind of thing?
no, I try not to break stuff, and the verbiage that comes out of my mouth is not always the most appropriate. I'm very opinionated, um, and I don't like discussions of what are you doing, how was your weekend, stuff like that. No, put some salsa and chips in front of me, beer, drink, whatever. Let me watch the game and let me throw stuff. And all of my stuff now that my wife puts around is all squishy stuff, like Michigan stuff or whatever. But it's just it's the thing for me. I enjoy it because I get immersed into it. I want to focus, and I have a blast doing it. And those side conversations, to me, just I want to watch it because I love Michigan football and basketball so much. And then, like the Lions tonight, I don't want to miss a play, because it's probably, hopefully we see more of them, but we've waited so long that you want to be focused. And I meet a lot of people like that. I don't know if you're that way or not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more of a person that talks during commercial, because I don't really pay attention to commercials, nor do I like commercials.
That's me too.
So I'll talk, to whoever I'm watching the game with during commercials. But I mean, for the most part, it's either finishing up a conversation that we had, during commercial, and then we'll watch the game. Um, yeah, I mean, I may. The funny thing is, like, I've watched games where I've had people be completely silent, and then I've had people to where they're screaming right at the TV, like they're nose to nose with the TV. You know?
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I like that too. I like the bar atmosphere sometimes, with a bunch of people that are, going crazy. Um, I do, but most of the time I tend to, when I'm at home, I watch it on my own. But I agree with you. There's sometimes I like with a lot of people around. Super Bowl, I mean, man, Super Bowl's almost got to have a bunch of people around, and the food, and it's almost like a holiday. So
And should it be a holiday? I really feel like it should.
It should. I mean, what the day after is the most called off day.
Pretty much.
Even what GM just didn't GM just give I think they started late or something like that because of the last Lions game or one of the Lions games, or they're going to one of their shifts because they knew people were going to be late. You know,
Probably.
They knew people. If you're going to do it, you know, let's be real about it. That's the way it's going to be. You know, so give the people the next day off. You know.
Yeah, I get that, and you know, I would certainly say like the Super Bowl is way more popular than if you look at it to other sports than, you know, the World Series. Like I would say not many, unless their team is in it, they're not paying attention to it. But everybody watches the Super Bowl.
Right. I think this year I literally asked, somebody said something about it and I was like, it's over. You know, it's just like, yeah.
That's what I said too. I was like, oh, who won? Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's just, you know, youth baseball, it seems like in even in the college a little bit, but I think that they're trying. Last night we talked about the pitch clock and the tie ball games going into extra innings and starting players off at second base and stuff like that. Trammell was against it, but he's all for it now. I went to a Tigers game. I went to Yankees Tigers this year, and they did the third in the third game. They tied it, and that's what they did. And the game moves along quicker. I mean, I like it a lot more. I mean, it's because you can sit there, man. It can get boring. I mean, it can get drawn out. But I like the speed of it. And then it was a tie game at the end, and put a man on second. It was the first time I had ever seen that, and I was like, wow. And we won it because of it. But they had the same opportunity. So.
Yeah. I mean, I went to opening day last year, and man, for the first time ever being at opening day, that was something else. I mean, when the Jets flew over the stadium, goosebumps, absolute goosebumps. And to see Miggy hit his first or his first of his last year ball, you know, that was incredible.
I've never been. I've always wanted to.
It's definitely something that's a bucket list moment for sure. I mean, the atmosphere is amazing. Like whether we won or lost, like everybody's still, you know, we're here. Like let's have a good time.
The weather?
Kind of thing.
Was the weather good or bad?
The weather was not that bad. It got a little chilly, but I mean, for the most part, we wore you know, jeans and long clothes and everything. A little bit of layers. But we were high up. So the wind kind of hit us, but when the sun hit us just right, oh, it was beautiful. Absolutely wonderful. I would say it was about, I don't know, 50, 60 degree day.
You ever been to Florida for like spring training or anything?
No, I've never done that.
That's pretty cool too. It's obviously more laid back, but it's pretty cool to see them down there in Florida. It doesn't seem, it's weird because you're like, wait a minute, I'm watching the Tigers in Florida. You know, but I always ask about the weather because I know the weather's sometimes challenging for those.
Yeah.
Opening.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to Florida in May, so they'll already be back in Detroit by that time. So, but yeah, I mean, would I ever watch, you know, the Tigers in Florida? Who knows? You know, I got a lifetime to think about it.
Hopefully you can watch them in the World Series. That's the key.
I know. I remember back in, what was it, 2008 is when they went to the World Series, but they lost. Or was it the divisional or something like that?
Yeah, division. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that. with Ordonez and Verlander and of course Miguel Cabrera and I think Inge was on that team too. So
they were talking about prospects last night. They were talking about some really good prospects last night. So hopefully they get better and Detroit still, you know, they're doing the right stuff. I mean, going to the game, man, they're making the games fun for especially the kids and stuff like that. So
yeah. And that's Yeah, and that's all that really matters is like, because you got different families that are coming and sons that want to bring their or fathers that want to bring their sons, and and daughters, and just and show them what it's like to be at the stadium that they see on TV. And I think doesn't matter if it's college or the pros, like it should be like a big family um thing, to where every family can experience it one time at least
So
out of their
I got a
lifetime.
question for you. This came up last night. If you don't mind me asking you a question,
Yeah, bring it on.
what do you think about sports as far as tickets, beer, popcorn, hot dogs, stuff like that, and the prices?
So
I mean,
as
because you're
I
talking about that, and
yeah.
that's a big factor for these people to be able to do it.
Oh, absolutely. And that's actually an amazing question, because I myself, this past year, I went to Notre Dame, I went to the Big House, I've gone to the Tigers, I've even gone to I've gone to multiple um of the stadiums. And I'll be honest, the pricing of things is a little high. It's a little high. And and if you look at the pricing of the tickets too, like what? Like I mean, I get, like, for playoffs and everything, of course they're going to be worth more money. Totally understandable. But regular season, like, are you kidding me? Like, it's going to be X amount for just two tickets alone. And it's, a very high price of two tickets. I mean, like, $60, not that terrible. But, like, where it's almost like $100 and you're almost in the nosebleeds, it's like, let's tone it down a little bit here, guys. We Now you're looking like you're money hungry, so. But I mean, with $10 beer, I mean, I remember covid and talking with my buddies, and we were all like, I can't wait to drink a $10 beer when this is over. And we were so excited for it. And of course we get there, and we have the $10 beer, and we're like, well, that's $10 down the drain.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing I think of. We just had that discussion the other night, and a bunch of us, and it actually came up with Trammell last night that they were talking about that and bringing kids into the game and stuff. But okay, so like Michigan girls basketball, it was anywhere. They had one game that was $1 a seat. They had normally you can get on there, and $6 to $8 you can go watch them. So I can take my daughter. Um, you can get into the 13 to 20 something dollar tickets for the men's basketball. Obviously, football is more expensive. In season tickets. And the thing I had, Michigan called me with season tickets and said, what do you think about the, donation that you got to give to, at the beginning? And they kind of questioned me on that. And I told them, I said, after spending money on season tickets and the cost for me to go, then I had a phone call that was a student athlete asking me to give more money because she has to work, practice, and stuff like that. And I was like, wait a minute, it's a multi-billion-dollar business, even with colleges, and you're calling me as a season ticket holder and asking for more money, and where's the college stepping in? So those were the things like that. But what really came up was the Masters, and what the Masters charge, and what their food is, and their sandwiches are under $10. And so even Trammell said it last night. He goes, when you can sit there and you have basically the balls to sit and go, we only want a couple different big sponsors, and we make enough money, and let's give the people an experience. And I think that's great. I mean, just reading into that a little bit more, what they're doing and their philosophy behind it, it's amazing.
Absolutely, because if you can give somebody an experience that doesn't, hurt their pocket or their wallet, then you're making memories for life. And you're like, I can still remember, hearing stories about my stepdad going to Tiger Stadium of all places in the 70s when he was in high school. He would get out, cut class, or he would, have a half day of school or whatever, and him and a couple of buddies would go drive to Tiger Stadium, $5 for tickets, and go sit in like the nosebleeds and enjoy the game. And he will forever remember that. I mean, that's just that's an incredible story to hear, because you're like,
Right.
I remember when this happened.
Yeah, even if you can afford tickets, and I'm not one to say how much they should charge for tickets, but
Right.
even if they can afford tickets, I mean, make it affordable for that family that can make it down there, maybe that one time in a year or every 3 or 4 years. Make it affordable to come in and get the hot dog and the soda that and the popcorn or whatever. That's just the icon of the whole thing, the experience, and then maybe the hat for the kid or the baseball that he wants. Because I mean, I can't imagine as a parent, and I've had to do it before in other instances, but you go into something like that and you're like, yeah, no, we're not going to buy that. We're not going to get this. And kids want everything, but you take a kid that may play baseball and you take them there and you buy him a hat. And, I've done it with my son before and taking him, and he's like, I want a hat. And you give him that hat. Dude, he treats that hat totally different than if you were anywhere else or ordering it off of Amazon. He knows where he got that hat from. And it's that one thing that you get up the next morning, you walk into his bedroom to wake him up for school, and he's got the hat that he was sleeping in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's that special thing,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can still remember either different things that I've gotten at, when it was the Palace, getting different things from there. I mean, actually, I have a baseball that I actually got from Comerica
Really?
when I was like a kid. Yeah, when I was a kid, and it's like case and everything. It's nothing signed or anything. It's just a simple baseball, but yeah, it's now in my cabinet area in my place, and and I just
Who
totally
cares? Yeah.
yeah. But it's funny the fact that you mentioned that, because I'm like, I just had to look at it. I'm like, oh yeah, I got that when I was like a little kid, and it's still, and it's like, and it's in a little clear casing, and I
Yeah.
haven't taken it out or anything like that. That's so funny that you mentioned that. But I mean, that's like those special moments alone are something that not only the kids but the parents will hold on to forever.
It's all
And
about the memory.
Exactly. Absolutely. Well, I didn't want to take up too much of your time, so I know you got to get back to work and get on that grind train. But I very much appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Anytime, brother. I appreciate you, and I love listening to it. So it's a good thing. Keep it up.